Welcome back to Sledgehammer Horror, guys. I am Ken Sledge, and let's talk horror. Now, today I am joined by the beautiful Paige. Paige, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing well. How are you?
I am doing awesome. It is so amazing to have you here. But before we talk about why you're here, I would like for the people that don't know you to get to know you. You are the Black Dahlia of professional wrestling, aka the Chainsaw Queen. You're an independent wrestler that's been an actor and model your whole life. Um,
Yeah.
so you've grown up, an actor, a model, grown up around horror movies, and they've been very special to you. So when it came time to pick a wrestling gimmick, one that involved horror was definitely something that you wanted to go with. And yours is really a mix between Texas Chainsaw Massacre themed with urban legends and cryptozoology. So is this the first wrestling gimmick and only wrestling gimmick you've had, or have you tried other things along the way?
Right, good question. And you've done your research, so I really appreciate that. Yeah. So my gimmick as of now, like you just said, is a mixture of cryptozoology, which is the first ever. Me and my best friend Nathaniel, we were the first ever wrestlers to have a crypto
Mhm.
gimmick like this. So mix that with Leatherface and then the Black Dahlia. So yeah, there's three different mixtures of my gimmick. But as for have I always been, the crypto is new.
Okay.
The Chainsaw Queen, I've been since 2016. And then the Black Dahlia since I entered the business in 2011. So it has
So
actually, I've always been the Black Dahlia.
that's amazing. And your chainsaw, they say size doesn't matter, but holy shit, that chainsaw. What's it feel like for you to take
I,
that chainsaw to the ring with you?
right. So basically, the Excalibur is like a 50-pound golden chainsaw. I have two of them now. It's very expensive, and I'm a lot of people. One of the first things they notice about me when they meet me is that I am very short. I'm only 5'2". So
Okay.
carrying a chainsaw as big as me is, I think it gets your attention. In wrestling, you want to be that what do you take from the show? You have all these people and you want to be that one thing that stands out. And I feel like to get everyone's attention, why not have a big golden chainsaw?
Right. And it's amazing because like you said, these things that you've done, like whether it's the Texas Chainsaw Massacre theme, like the Leatherface theme, mixed with like the
Yeah,
cryptic
which
zoology and
which
things
I
like that,
am
like
the
that is
first. I'm the as far as I'm concerned, I'm the first ever a woman to carry a chainsaw to the ring, and the first ever chainsaw queen. And there is another one now in wrestling. She came after me, but shout out to her, my fellow chainsaw queen out in California. I love when people have similar gimmicks. Like some people might get territorial and be like, "You're still in my gimmick," and no, like I actually bonded with her. I'm a girl's girl and I want all women to get along. And when I saw someone doing a similar gimmick, I was just like, good for her. And I want to make sure she knows I have the blessing. Like, yeah, I've been the Chainsaw Queen since 2016. And I think she came around in 2019. And I was just
Mhm.
like, just so you know, I support you. And
Right.
it's so cool seeing other women carry chainsaws now. But being the first ever is like, it's kind of cool because you see all the men carrying chainsaws. There's been multiple different Leatherface gimmicks. There's multiple different Ed Gein gimmicks, and then there's multiple different just random chainsaw gimmicks that have nothing to do with Leatherface. So um, that's definitely not new except for a female doing it. So that was pretty exciting. And making it my own though with cryptozoology, which again, my partner Nathaniel, he helped invent this gimmick and form it. So think Leatherface, deranged lunatics going after cryptids. Like we're kind of like the vigilantes that instead of just skinny the human flesh we wear, those are serial killers and urban legends of serial killers that we've hunted down. And then we have Leatherface style outfits, but it's like alien flesh. We went to Area 51 and then Bigfoot flesh, and then now
That's
we have a
awesome.
Mothman, and we're hunting down all the cryptozoologies. The next one's going to be a Wendigo, which is going to be like probably the sickest one yet.
I bet. I bet. And I do got to give a shout out real quick because I know this episode is airing in October, but
Okay,
today we
okay.
found out that we lost Terry Funk, who, if you watched WWF,
Yeah,
Chainsaw Charlie,
yeah.
And a legend in his own right, someone that could pave the way for the horror elements in professional wrestling. Not just, I mean, the Terry Funk gimmick alone was just downright scary with how crazy that dude was. But bringing
Right.
Chainsaw Charlie, him and Mankind, Mick Foley were that horror theme thing back in WWF back then at that time. And, I just wanted to
Yeah,
give a quick shout out to him because Terry Funk, I feel, is one of the guys, one of the godfathers of hardcore. So,
he was a
yeah, had to
thousand
give a huge shout
percent.
out to him.
When I woke up and I saw that, I'm like, how crazy that uh, this weekend I'm recovering from a horrible injury in wrestling, and this weekend I just made my first appearance as the Chainsaw Queen, and then next thing you know, one of the Chainsaw Legends just passed. I'm like, what the heck? That's just
Yeah.
awful.
Such a bummer. He was such an
I
amazing
really
guy. I
was
got to
looking
meet him
forward to
once.
meeting him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a great, great guy. And I do want to say, if you guys want to follow along with everything that the Black Dahlia is doing, make sure you follow her on social media. I have all those links down in the description below. So maybe if on the independent circuit she's coming to your city, you can go and mark out. I want to hear the biggest pop in the world when she comes out and you see Excalibur. I want to hear it. I want to see it. So make sure you're following her on social media to stay up to date on everything she has coming up so you can join a show as well. Now, in order for you to be the Black Dahlia, to be the Chainsaw Queen in professional wrestling, horror had to start for you somewhere. So now I would like
Right.
to go back to the past and talk about what got you started in the horror genre, your first horror movie, and Black Dahlia, your first horror movie was.
No one ever guesses this. Like, no one can actually figure it out with me because they see Dahlia, they see the grown woman right before you. They didn't know Dahlia before professional wrestling. And that was a theater nerd. Like, I'm talking hardcore, snooty, like, this is art, like raw theater. Let's get nude on stage and this and roll around in mud. And this is,
Right.
whatever, something is just cringe as that. So the furthest thing, if you think about it, from professional wrestling, so or even like, how did I get involved with horror? So I would watch TCM, Turner Classic Movies, like that station as a kid, and it was just always on. So I was really impacted with black and white films. And there, okay, so I love Halloween and I love spooky season. So it's just like, even now, it like makes me feel all good inside when like the commercials start to change to like fall leaves and children's costumes and trick-or-treaters and stuff. And it's just like a good feeling. So the same when I was a kid watching Turner Classic Movies, even though there wasn't any commercials, there was like the spooky shows starting to advertise. And me being a child, you would think you weren't allowed to watch that, right? No, I was allowed to watch that. So that was pretty cool. And I'll never forget the shadows of these long hands going up a stairwell, and I was like, what is this? And Nosferatu, I'm talking 1920s version. I can't get the year exact, but 1920s version, the OG Nosferatu impacted my life as a little like 5-year-old baby that wants to be an actor.
Right.
That really impacted me.
Well,
So
and
news
it's
for
a movie that is still to this day. They're doing a new one now with Nicolas Cage, I believe.
Yeah, I saw
Um,
that advertisement. It's about
yeah,
the crossing of the seas, like in the boat or whatever.
yeah,
It looked pretty sick, and I definitely want to see it. But I also think it just dropped, and I think it's doing bad in the box office.
that's what I've
And
heard.
and I'm like, why? Like, it looks so sick.
Right. Well, it's one of those things where, obviously the remakes, requel, sequels, that's always, going to happen. But with this movie, you talked about the OG. You were young, very young when you had seen it for the first time. But were you
Yeah.
by yourself watching TCM, or did you have someone there with you the first time you had seen Nosferatu?
Yeah, I am pretty sure I was alone. Like, it was just always on. And
Right.
like, it was just like playing right there. Like say I was like coloring in a coloring book in my Grammy's living room, and that was on the TV, whether the adults were coming in and out and stuff. So it was just like, the communal television in the living room just playing. Or then it eventually got to when I had my own TV in my own room. It was just the background. When I'm doing my homework, TCM was on. And then it was just always so fun during spooky season.
Right. Well, and this is a movie that I feel like is underrated, especially in the vampire world, because, you have the Draculas and things like that, which I really think overshadow what a Nosferatu does. But do you remember what your favorite or what scene affected you the most from the film?
Probably the one I just quoted, like the one where when he was actually going after the girl, and like the iconic shot of him going up the stairwell and you see his shadows. And I used to know the terminology of it, but it's like the German style filmmaking with the shadow work. I can't remember the terminology, but God, I'm letting myself down. But just studying that, because I actually ended up going in high school and then into college. I started studying filmmaking, and that was one of the things we actually got to study is the black and white films. And I tried to focus the class and be like, hey, let's focus on the Halloween one. Let's focus on the spooky ones and the monsters. But probably that, but also just him going after the innocent woman and her being hypnotized by him.
Yeah, and
sorry, can you tell I work night shift and I'm exhausted?
No, you're fine. Like,
I'm like, this is in the morning for me. This is like early in the morning for me, and I am barely able to speak.
No, you're totally fine, because it's funny, the hypnotism of what, like, Nosferatu or vampires, like
how spooky is that? Could you imagine just like, one day in your bed and next thing you know someone's got your ass? Like, come on.
Right. And it's always, they're always the sexiest, they're the ones that are irresistible because of that hypnotic nature that they have. So vampires have always just had this, and I know Nosferatu technically probably isn't a vampire, but he's always been a vampire to me.
What do you mean? I think, come on. Like, what do you mean? Like, yes.
I have a lot of people try to argue with me that he's not a vampire. And I'm like, I disagree. I totally think Nosferatu.
What are their argument points?
That's my thing, because he's not your Dracula, you're sexy, you're out to get blood from a woman. I'm like, hey, you might want to go back and revisit this film a little bit there, buddy, just because you've seen him in SpongeBob turning the light on and off. Like,
let's talk about vampires, because this is like my favorite genre in horror. Obviously, it impacted my style, obviously, for wrestling and for my personal life. I always, I'm a '90s baby, so I always loved '90s goth, and like there's something about that that's just so sexy, and it could be casual, but then it like it's not the Victorian goth, but it's like the extreme. So one of my favorite newish vampire movies was 30 Days of Night.
Mm-hmm.
Scared the fuck out of me. When she's like, oh, that one woman, she's like trembling. She's like, oh, please, God. And he's like, God. And he looks around mocking her, and he's like, no, God. And then he like fucks her up. And I'm just like, dude, that's fucking scary.
And it's so dark, the whole movie, because of where it takes place. You got the snow, and it's just
the isolation of it. The isolation, no sun, no transport. You're fucking stuck, and you're gonna freeze to death too. You can freeze your ass. Because me, what do I think? I'm out. I'm running until I can't run anymore. But you can't, because it's freezing out. But the reason I brought up one of my favorite vampire things is the argument of Nosferatu isn't a vampire. It's like, well, what about these motherfuckers? They're not sexy. They're terrifying. They're not out to go and fuck a bitch and, and make her immortal bride. No, they're monsters. Like, vampires are monsters, and sometimes they can be sexy as well. Like, that's my argument towards those people that say that.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. Like, it's, like I said, even the scariest of vampires to me have always had an aura, just like an aura of sexiness around them.
I was getting ready to expose myself. I retract what I said. The leader in 30 Days of Night would. And then dead ass, like off the record, on the record, Nosferatu would. So, I mean, there's something sexy about obviously wanting to kill me. So, I don't know.
Well, and, these movies have made such a big impact. Vampire movies are still, like you said, you had Renfield. these movies are still being made today. And we talked a little bit about the Nosferatu remake that's coming out. I don't know if it is out already or not, but is that a movie that you were excited about seeing, or were you kind of like, let's leave Nosferatu alone and leave it where it was?
I've never been that way, and I've never understood, because like I feel like give me all you got, and if it sucks, it sucks. But at least we got another one. Like
Right.
I'm gonna expose myself. So I love Disney, and like I literally, you would think I'm a Gemini because there's like two different sides of me, but I'm actually a Pisces. So like anyway, one side of me is like, yeah, Nosferatu, like lay it to me, and then the next side is like, there's a new Disney princess movie. Oh my god! so I'm a hardcore mark for princesses, and everyone's like, oh, leave the OGs alone, the cartoons. And it's like, what the fuck? Like, let's get live action ones. This is the more the better. Like, yeah. I heard I'm a huge Harry Potter mark, and I heard that they're going to be remaking it, and everyone's like, oh, it's too soon. Fuck that. And it's like, we get some more. This is cool. Right. So nah, I've never been like, leave the OG alone. Like, the OG is the OG, and if you can outshine, like, the new Scream. Okay, the new Scream, like, there's been the two latest ones that dropped, right? Yeah. The first one that just came out, it was like, yeah, okay. The one that just dropped, like, what was it, this year, last year?
Yeah. Beginning of this year.
I'm telling you, okay, so the OG, obviously. Second, I'm telling you, I was like, damn, that was good. And it came close to knocking out the OG. I'm telling you. But opinion, don't come at me.
For me, there's only two movies that I would just be completely anti-remake, and that, like, just two. That's it.
Really?
And to me,
what is it?
Yes, Jaws. Don't touch Jaws. Leave Jaws alone. And Back to the Future. Those two, leave them alone. Don't touch them. They're perfect.
I heard rumors about Back to the Future that they're going to redo it. And as for Jaws, I saw in my newsfeed, there's these sick fucks out there. And I repeat, sick fucks that actually, the outdoor theaters.
Yeah.
Like, there's one over water. And okay, so I saw this years ago, right? And it was like a pond or something. I'm like, you sick fucks. All right. The terrifying. And they would like be in their little floaties and watch Jaws at night in the floaters. You think that's bad enough? I've seen this for years. I just saw in my newsfeed that there's a little cutoff box. Like, it's not even cut off. It's the fucking ocean. People are doing this in the ocean as well. And I'm just like, I literally, I just have this weird phobia. I feel like one day I'm going to get bit by a shark. So someone keep this shot. So when I just get, even if it's just a little nibble on my leg or whatever.
You're like, called it.
I'm like, I called it. I feel like I'm going to, so why would you watch that in the ocean on little floaters at night? If I see it, the screen grab, I'll send it to you, but that's too much.
Yeah, I'm out. I couldn't do it. No way.
But you're a big fan of Jaws then, so like you wouldn't want to do that as a surprise like gift?
No, hell no. No.
What about the one in the pond? What about the one in the little river thing? No?
No, I don't go in water anyway. No, I don't like water.
Why?
Water because it's disgusting. Like, people are like, hey, come swim with me in my pool. I'm like, how about I just lay down and let you piss on my face and then pour chlorine on it? Because that's the exact thing.
Are you more of a germaphobe, or are you a more water phobic?
No, like when I go out to eat, I take my own silverware.
So you're like really hardcore. Okay, I respect that. When I got involved with wrestling, I didn't realize it, but okay, so I have a sweat phobia, and I kind of just forgot that I'd be rolling around half nude with all these people, and my pores are open and sweating, and their pores are open and sweating. When I say I almost vomited during my first training session, So that's my germaphobe. And then for the record, insensitive to say it, but during COVID, fuck you guys for panicking, because I always had Germex and Lysol and Clorox wipes. I'm that bitch that has some in my purse, vehicle, and at the house. I'm not as extreme as you, but I didn't realize what a privilege it was to be able just to go and pick that up whenever you ran out, because fuck all the people that went and stocked up then got it. I don't know, but like I didn't realize. I was so upset.
What pissed me off about that is people were going and buying 30 cases for $1 a piece and then selling them for
Yeah. Yep.
$30.
I
You know,
remember
like
those
that's
videos.
the shit for me that was like, no, man, that's bullshit.
Yep. Yeah, I remember those videos, and I was really pissed off about them because I'm like, I know you guys are not using these.
Right, right. You're
Just
not
like
even
all the
using them.
people
You're
that
using them to
went and
make
got
money.
all the gym. There's like people that went and got gym equipment. It was all cleared out, and I'm like, what the heck?
Right.
Really upset me.
What? No, you're totally fine. So we talked about Nosferatu being your first horror movie and what that means to you. But here for a second, I want to throw a curveball at you. My little buddy Ghostface is here, and he
I
has a question for you.
I just woke up.
What's your favorite scary movie, Black Dahlia? What is your favorite horror movie of all time?
Probably the OG Leatherface.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
Like
can
yeah,
see
people
that.
need to respect it. Like people need to genuinely just research it, educate themselves on it, and then go back and watch the OG. And then I just there's something about like, okay, if someone comes at you with a gun, terrifying. Someone comes at you with a butcher knife, terrifying. Someone comes at you with a machete, terrifying. You hear a fucking chainsaw, holy shit, you're pissing yourself and you're like probably shitting your panties as you're run like, come on. There's just this
Yeah.
sound. I'm telling you right now, if someone tries to break in my house, I have a chainsaw. Like I have 10 of them actually. I have 10 gassed up, oiled up chainsaws that are ready to fucking go. Except for
That's
the
awesome.
gold one. My 2 gold ones, I try to keep the one that we normally turn on has the chain off it so it doesn't scratch up the chrome. And then the other one has a chain on it so for photo shoots and stuff. But they
Sure.
both have chains. But other than those 2, all the others are ready to like come on, imagine trying to break into my house and then you hear run. I'm telling you, I don't care if you have a gun, you're fucking running.
Right,
Like this
right.
is crazy.
It's amazing to see the impact that Texas Chainsaw has had on you throughout not just your personal life, but your career. You know, it really is.
Yeah.
Without that movie, we may not be having this conversation right now because you may not be the same person that you would be without that movie. So,
Yeah.
I, I've had an amazing time learning more about you, your professional wrestling, and how horror started for you, your favorite horror movie. But before I let you go, we always bounce back to the same question. We're going to go
Okay.
back to Nosferatu. And what we're going to do is rank this movie on a skull count. Now, we're not ranking this movie on acting, production, score, direction, nothing like that. We're not being critics. All we're doing here is ranking this movie on how much it affected you on your first viewing. So, 0 skulls being not effective, 5 being extremely effective. You can use half and quarter skulls anywhere in the middle. Black Dahlia, what would your ranking of Nosferatu be?
For affecting my life?
Yeah. No, like how it affected you when you watched it as a kid.
God. Probably like fucked up my life. It fucked me up a little bit, I guess. I know. It mesmerized me. So what's the highest score I can go?
5.
I'm gonna put it at a 4.
Perfect. And
Yeah.
again, it's a movie that really has to. I said it earlier, but I mean, they had Nosferatu do a guest spot on SpongeBob SquarePants. I mean, like that's how
I didn't see
important.
that episode, really.
Yes, with the hash slinging slasher at the end, the lights are going on and off, and it's Nosferatu
Send
turning the
me
lights
a
on and off.
link. That
I
has to be
will.
on YouTube. Send me it,
Yeah.
please.
It's just funny how they look and the lights are getting turned on and off, and it's Nosferatu standing there, and they're like Nosferatu, like
I think
it's
I
great.
actually remember that part. Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, I think I remember that.
yeah. I'll still
That
shoot
is
it over
so
to you so you
cool.
can check it out. But
Thank
while you
you.
guys, I do want to remind you because she's amazing. She's going to be doing a whole lot more in her professional wrestling career, as well as acting and modeling. So the best thing for you to do is follow along on social media, and all those links are down in the description, so you can stay a part of everything that she's doing from now and in the future. So, Black Dahlia, please don't go anywhere. I got a couple more questions for you. Everybody else, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. It really does help the channel more than you know. And follow SledgeHammer Horror on social media. All our links are in the description as well. But until next time, keep talking horror, stay what you are, and we'll see you guys soon.